What is going on, folks? Good morning. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone is enjoying their day. Excited to get into a little bit of a goal setting workshop here. I think it's important to go through each of the built pillars and apply it to setting goals for us next year. And the biggest reason that this is different, okay, than a lot of other goal setting is that we're working at the identity level. We cannot achieve our goals in 2026 being the same person we were in 2025. If your goal is to scale up your business and you want to go hire salespeople and you want to hire an assistant or you want to do XYZ, if you don't see yourself as someone who is worthy of that, or someone who is a leader, someone who's a leader or a manager XYZ, you're going to self-sabotage yourself, right? Those opportunities will come up. Maybe you meet a really good potential salesperson, but you don't see yourself as a sales manager. So you decide not to bring that person on because you don't have the confidence in yourself to lead. So it's really, really important that we upgrade our identity first before we're setting 2026 goals. So that's what this is going to go through. I'm really going to work through each of the 5 pillars, starting with breaking your limiting beliefs all the way through to T. And we are going to rework the identity. That's really the core of it, so that we are the person we need to be in 2026 to actually achieve our goals. This beautiful presentation made by my assistant. I am lagging a little bit, but that's okay. Still gonna rock and roll here. Not gonna let anything hold us back. All right, like I said, so most people are failing at goal setting because they are trying to achieve this new outcome with their old identity. Again, if your goal is to get to the next level in your business or hire people or reach some income goal or XYZ, if you don't see yourself as someone who operates at that level, you're not going to be able to step into it, right? You're going to self-sabotage, and I'll get into that later. But we need to set goals for 2026 as the 2.0 version of ourselves. Meaning we need to imagine, like, what does it look like at the end of next year, right? How are you feeling? How are you thinking? How are you acting? How are you behaving? You need to visualize that and step into that version of yourself now before you go accomplish your goals. And it'll be much easier to reach those milestones. And I dealt with this a lot when I was scaling the wholesale business, because I cold called for a year and a half, way too long, because I didn't see myself as someone who could go hire a sales rep. I didn't feel like I was ready. It wasn't until a year and a half in, one of my good friends, Mike Gomes, I was at his meetup, and he was like, oh, how's the business going? I was like, great. And he's like, you don't have a sales rep yet? Like, you don't have an acquisition rep yet? And that was the first time I was like, oh, maybe I should have one. Like, I needed someone else to give me permission to be ready. And that was another thing I learned, is like, no one's going to come in on a white horse. Okay. The knight in shining armor telling you that you're ready to reach the next level. You got to decide. It's like, when will you feel ready? You never will. You just have to take the leap into that next version. So then I went out and I hired a salesperson, right? But yeah, and it started at the beginning, even when I was cold calling. That was actually a little bit further ahead. So when I started cold calling, I did that for a year and a half. And then I didn't even hire a VA. Like, I didn't even hire a cold caller because I didn't think that I was ready to, like, train someone or lead someone. And it wasn't until we were at actually a previous meetup where everyone was like, yeah, I got a VA doing this and XYZ. And Isaiah and I were like, oh, maybe we should have cold callers. Maybe we should have VAs. And then I went and got a VA, right? And then I was doing lead follow-up and closing. And I had the cold callers. And then it was another block. I was like, oh, lead manager, like, oh, we're not ready for a lead manager yet. We got to reach a certain amount of revenue. We got to do this, X, Y, Z, and the other. And you never feel ready. So I was taking much longer than I needed to. Now, you do need to do the reps and do the things, but I was taking so much longer. And then it was, again, Mike helped me out twice, actually. With the lead manager. He was like, you should just be having a lead manager. So I went and got one. It was great. And then I moved up to being a sales rep. And yeah, then that same mental block when I was going from sales rep to sales manager, I was like, because I started the business, I didn't know anything about sales. I'd never done sales in my life, right? I was like, I had a finance degree, XYZ. So I was like, what do I know about sales to be able to hire a sales rep and be a sales manager? But the reality is I've been doing it for 2.5 years. So I was more than qualified to be able to do it, but it was my own limiting beliefs about who I was. And it made it harder to step into it. So that's the whole point here, is why it's important to. But if I had the mindset from the beginning that I was a CEO and I was an owner, I would have went out and, hired people much sooner to do that. So break limiting beliefs. clearing the old identity before stalling a new one. So, like I said, your 2026 goals are going to require a completely new way of seeing yourself, completely new way. So, the old beliefs that you had about whether you're trying to grow your business or reach a certain level of income or you want new opportunities, maybe it's not business related at all. Maybe you want 10 new, really good relationships. Maybe you want to get in shape for 2026. That's what you want to do. You need to see yourself in a new light. So, what were the old beliefs you had about whatever? Because those are creating confusion and inconsistency if you don't update them. If you're trying to get healthy in 2026 and you want to lose weight and you want to get in shape, if you identify as someone who is not in shape, it's going to be very hard to get in shape. You need to start rewiring your beliefs. Where are those limiting beliefs? Well, it's hard for me to go to the gym. It's harder than me than most. Whatever those beliefs are, we need to first recognize them, okay, as they come up. So we need to understand that we are the awareness. We are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. Meaning you feel that resistance to go to the gym. That's not you. It's just a feeling. You know, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't want to go to the gym tomorrow. Those are just thoughts. We can disconnect from those things. So you are not your thoughts or emotions. But identify what those are as they come up. Even over the next week, as you're setting these goals for 2026, I want you to think back on, or I want you to be aware of things that come up that are limiting. As you start to envision 2026, what you want it to look like, what are those things that are coming up that you need to let go of? But how you see yourself is going to shape how you behave. It absolutely will. If you see yourself as a healthy person, an in shape person, even though your physical body might not show it, you're going to take the actions that are in alignment with that identity. What do I mean by that? You're going to go to the gym 3 times a week. You're going to go on a walk 3 times a week. You're going to eat healthy food. You're going to drink enough water. You're going to prioritize your sleep because that's how you see yourself. You see yourself as a healthy person. If you see yourself as, I've never been able to get in shape, I've never been healthy, XYZ, it's going to be really hard to go to the gym, right? And that's why I say, like, I take my health very, very seriously, right? Like I go to the gym, I stay in shape. My nutrition is everything to me because I want to function at the highest level. Even if I start to slip off a little bit, say I did start to put on a little bit of weight, like I would instantly go to the gym more, be stricter on my diet because I see myself as a healthy person. So I'll never let myself not be that way. That's why shifting at the identity is huge. So asking, and then the other thing is asking, what identity am I upgrading into? So the first thing is identifying who you were in 2025, maybe the parts of you that you didn't like. And there's certain beliefs tied to what you didn't like about yourself, right? Whether it's income related or like I said, health, relationships, business, whatever that may be. We need to identify what are those limiting beliefs first so we can let them go and reframe them. So the mini exercise here for break limiting beliefs is listing the top 3 beliefs that you think blocked you last year. So the top 3 beliefs, whatever those were. Maybe you think like you're mediocre at talking to people or sales and you're like a salesperson. Maybe you think that you're not the most outgoing person and you want to build relationships. Or maybe you think that it's just difficult to find good connections in this city, or this town, or this area. It's just difficult. That's just a limiting belief we tell ourselves. And the more you tell yourself that, oh, this is difficult, it's going to be tough, what does your brain do? The reticular activating system in your brain will filter out everything that it can possibly find to support your belief. Okay. The reticular activating system in the brain is the part that when you buy a car, all right, you go buy a car, Toyota Camry. You'd never seen a Toyota Camry on the road, but now you see that property. Oh gosh, too much real estate. Now you see that car everywhere. You see the Toyota Camry everywhere, but you hadn't seen it before. It's because now it's in your awareness, right? So same thing with your beliefs. Whatever you believe to be true, whether it be, I wish I could figure out why I'm lagging, but it's okay. Whatever you believe to be true today is going to be hard. It's going to be hard to accomplish these goals. Your brain is literally going to filter for things in your environment to support the belief that you have. That's what the reticular activating system does. So choosing your beliefs is extremely important. First, understanding the 3 things that blocked you, releasing those things, and then furthermore, changing them into an empowering belief, like the 2.0 identity. And if you believe that, there will be challenges, but I'm going to attack the challenges. I'm going to make it. It's going to be easy. It's going to be much easier than I thought. Maybe the thought of, oh, this is going to be easy to make a certain amount of money. Maybe you don't believe it. but shift it a little bit. Maybe you can the belief can be this is going to be easier than I think it is. Maybe that's something that your brain can accept, right? Maybe not that it'll be easy, but maybe this can be easier than I think it's going to be. And we got to start to rewire ourselves for those beliefs. And if you say it enough times, even if you don't believe it in the beginning, even if you don't believe it in the beginning, you say it enough times, you will begin to believe it. You will. Just like anything. It's like we play pretend long enough, you start to think that you actually are a character. It's the same thing with our beliefs. So listing the top 3 beliefs, rewriting each belief in its upgraded 2.0 identity form. So when you have a limiting belief, the start of it is just being aware. As soon as you're aware of it and you start to question it, then the cracks, it's like a glass ceiling. It's literally like a glass ceiling on you. And you think this is your potential, but really you could blast through it. But as soon as you start to question whatever that limiting belief is, the cracks start to form in the ceiling and then you can bust through. But I want you to question it, observe it, question it, collect counter evidence, and then reframe it. When I say collect counter evidence, I mean, if your belief is that it's difficult to find people to make new relationships in a city, then think about a time when you connected with someone really easy, or some piece of supporting evidence that contradicts your belief. Or maybe you don't think you're the best at talking to people, or maybe you think it's hard to earn money. Think about a time when a deal came easily. Oh, that deal was so easy. Well, what if I could get more deals like that? What if all deals could be that easy? So questioning it, collecting counter evidence to really embed that belief in your mind, right? And then reframing it into its 2.0 identity form. So something like, I'm going to have to work really, really hard to make a certain amount of money this year. It could be reframed into, I'm going to be at the right place at the right time. And it's going to be much easier than I think to make this amount of money this year. And that would be reframing into that 2.0 identity. But we always want to be thinking, how is our 2.0 self going to be thinking about these things? We want to get into that person now. It's like thinking about at the end of next year, you've already accomplished your goals. How are you thinking, feeling, and behaving? Because if you can get into that thought and that mindset, and we'll pop right into upgrade your operating system here. You're working at basically the quantum level. So when we look at upgrading your operating system, so when you decide to visualize and get into the state of the person who's already accomplished these goals, you're getting into the energy signature of that person. You're working at the quantum level, meaning you're tapping into the energetic level or the frequency or the radio station of the person who's already accomplished those goals. So when you tap into that, you start to attract opportunities into your field through what they would call synchronicities, okay? Which is someone calling you out of the blue, like perfectly random. You meet the perfect person at the perfect time. You say the right thing at the right time. And these little things happen in a way that you never could have thought would happen. That's how you know it's a synchronicity from the universe, because you could have never planned it out that way, but it just happened up perfectly. And people are like, oh, it's a coincidence. Listen, there's no coincidences. There's no such thing as a coincidence, right? Everything is exactly orchestrated the way it needs to happen. So once you can be aware of that, again, awareness is super important. Once you're aware of that, it is you start seeing these synchronicities everywhere. But that's how we are able to get those goals from a state of peace instead of pressure, right? Because when you're operating from this fear-based mentality, it's just so much harder. You're cut off from intelligence. And the other thing too is, so upgrading your operating system, the first thing you need to do is resetting the nervous system and internal baseline for 2026. So you need to understand your life loop, which is your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, your actions, and your results. This is constantly running all the time, and it's creating your reality, whether you think it is or not. It starts with your beliefs, but your thoughts create emotions, which drive behaviors, which cause you to take certain actions and get certain results. If you're in a fearful, worry, anxious thoughts, those lead to those sorts of emotions, which drive certain behaviors, which lead to certain actions, which lead to poor results. That's the life loop. So it starts with the belief. Once you break the belief and you have a new belief about things, you're going to have new thoughts, new abundant emotions, higher frequency emotions, which means you're tapping into a higher energetic field, right? Think about these fields, energy and our frequency as a radio station. And when your energy is higher and you're tapping into a higher frequency, you literally get new thoughts. Think about it. It's like I was on the pickleball court today and this guy was just so negative that I was playing with. So negative. The second we got on the pickleball court, he was like, talking about the freaking, there's like a crack in the pickleball court. He's like, all it's going to take is one person to trip on this and crack their head open and they're going to shut this whole place down. I'm like, dude, what? Like, it's so negative. I'm trying to play pickleball right now. But his whole thing was like just negative self-talk. And like, that's the frequency he's on. All that's coming into his head because he's in that energy is negative thoughts, which is leading to negative emotions, negative behaviors, slamming his racket, doing whatever, negative actions and negative results. He's not winning the pickleball game. So it all starts from being on the energetic field. So when we upgrade our operating system and we raise into a higher energetic frequency, we literally have new thoughts about our things, right? We actually think that our goals are attainable. Like, oh yeah, this is going to be easy. This is going to be great. We can make it, right? We're going to have different emotions. We're going to drive different behaviors, different actions, and we get different results. So it's not like mystical. It's not woo-woo. You can probably relate to this. Like if you ever go into work, you ever go into work and you were like super excited for the day. Everything's completely different. When you're excited and you're at work, like ideas come to you out of nowhere. I guarantee you can recall this. Ideas come to you out of nowhere. Action feels effortless. You're so effective. You're so productive. You're doing all the right things. It's because you're in a higher energy. And then when you come into work and you're in a lower energy and you're negative, you're pissed off about stuff, guess what? Everything's harder. You don't have any ideas. Everything seems 4 times as hard as it needs to be. So we need to get into the right energy and reset our entire life loop. So your operating system is running your entire life loop, which is your energy, basically, your frequency. Now, the nervous system, all right? This is super important. So there's 2 states of being we can be in our nervous system. We can be in a survival state or a creative state. When we're in a survival nervous system state, that is the sympathetic nervous system. It's the fight or flight. Your prefrontal cortex shuts off and you can't think. And basically all of your resources go to like your extremities, and because your body's gearing up to fight, flight, or hide, right? So when you're in fight or flight all the time and you're pissed off and you're angry and all this stuff, you literally can't even think. You can't even think. Part of your brain's not even working. So, and not to say all the other detrimental diseases that come from being in a constant state of stress and pressure, right? But you're literally making your life 10 times harder. So the other thing is, too, is if you don't know how to regulate your nervous system, for example, say you want to step out and you really want to build your brand and you want to do the things in 2026. If you don't see yourself as that person already, when opportunities come to you, maybe it's a speaking event or maybe, maybe it's a business opportunity or whatever, you are going to feel the energy. It's going to be an increased energetic event, right? You feel that when you get kind of nervous, when you get kind of nervous, that's just energy. That's all that is from the event. It's a high energy event. You're going to go speak, say you're going to go speak on stage somewhere. There's a lot of energy associated with that event. If your identity is not someone who can already do that, you're going to self-sabotage. But how are you going to self-sabotage? You're going to do it very sneakily because you want to make yourself feel good. And you're going to say, well, that day I actually have, I have another sales call I have to do. I'm with family that day. So you're going to try to justify to yourself as to why you can't show up to that thing. But really it's because you're not comfortable being that person yet. So you collapse into fight or flight. That's basically what happens. So as these opportunities come in that are on the frequency or the energetic level of your goals, as they come in, if you're not ready for them, you're going to collapse. So that energy comes into your system and basically trips the circuit breaker. It's like a circuit breaker and it trips and you fall into fight or flight. So in that instance, when those things come in, you need to regulate your nervous system because your nervous system literally can't handle those events. It can't handle the public speaking. It can't handle the sales call. It can't handle the business opportunity. It can't handle the new connection or the new relationship, the meeting with the new relationship because you get nervous, right? So the breath is how you regulate your nervous system. So when you step into these new opportunities and it's like you get a little bit nervous, you understand, hey, that's okay. This is just, it's on a higher energetic level. I'm not used to it, but I'm going to breathe. And we can use box breathing, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds hold. And that's going to allow you to literally regulate your nervous system, go back into a parasympathetic state, which is rest and digest, turn your prefrontal cortex back on so that you can think, so that you can get ideas, so that you can execute, so that you can have energy, and you're going to be able to reach the goals so much easier. But if we're running around in freaking fear and stress 24/7, we are going to be drained. We're going to be sick. We're going to be tired. We're not going to be able to think. Everything's going to be 4 times as hard as it needs to be. And you're going to have a miserable existence. Who even cares if you get your goals at that point? Because your life is just going to be terrible. So understanding, and again, it all goes back to awareness. We have to be aware of when we go into these fight or flight states, right? When we're in stress, fear, anxiety, worry, and use the breath. The box breathing is the best one that I've used. And it really works. Like you only need to do like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. Just 4 seconds in, hold, 4 seconds out, hold. If you just do that 4-second box breathing, you'll literally feel your brain like kick down a few gears. It's like you're in 6th gear, you're like down to 3rd gear after a couple minutes. It's incredible. And then you can relax and you can realize, because the fear is just, it's really your ego trying to protect you, because we were evolved to use fear as to protect us, right? We don't want to die like we're walking through the woods. Something rustles in the bushes and you don't want to get killed by a lion or something, or a bear. So you have to assume the worst case scenario, but our lives are not at risk right now for the most part. Okay. So we need to learn to get out of survival. It doesn't mean that we never are stressed. We're going to feel stressed. We're going to do those things, but you need to learn to let them go and release them, release that energy and return back to your baseline, which is peace. Peace is your baseline as a human being when you're not holding on to negative things. So you need a creative state baseline so as you set these goals for 2026, they're big, right? They're things you've never had before, right? You're going to be uncomfortable. And when you're in that uncomfortable situation, you have to remember to breathe and tell yourself that you can step into this version of yourself. Because when you breathe, you don't let yourself fall into that fight or flight. You stay in that creative state so that you can actually step in and execute in the moment. You can present, you can make the call, you can do the conversation, you can do whatever you need to do. So staying in a creative state is huge. That's what nervous system regulation is, staying in a creative state, and then raising your frequency to the radio station of the life loop that you want, basically. All right. So upgrade your operating system, mini exercise here. Yeah, these are great. So these are the things that you can do to reset your nervous system throughout the day. So you need a daily operating system. So I want you to write down, take a few of these things that you can use throughout the day. So as you are, because maybe you start the day and you're in a peaceful state, and okay, it's easy when you're in the morning, but when you start to get into the day and someone cuts you off and someone's yelling at you at work and all these things are happening, that's when you start to go back into the old and you're pissed off and you're angry and you're frustrated and you're anxious and all this stuff. And then all this stuff is out the window, right? So we have to, but that's the work. The work is falling back into the old pattern, recognizing it, forgiving yourself for that, and then just letting it go. Because for the longest time, I would just be hard on myself, like, because I knew I needed to be in this peaceful state, but then I would fall back into guilt or anger or frustration or worry. And then I'd get mad at myself for it. And it's like that in and of itself is a low frequency. Like that is the issue. It's like you need to forgive yourself, let it go, and then just get back on the horse, get back on the horse. And then as you do it over time, right, you recognize it. Now I recognize it instantly, right? Where it's like, I'll be on a call, something at work, and someone will do something that angers me. And I'll understand right away. I'll recognize it. I'll be like, whoa, that like, I just got super angry for some reason, but I'm not the emotion. I'm just observing it. So I'll literally be in the conversation with the person, but in the back of my head, I'll kind of like take a step back and I'll be like, whoa, like, why am I so angry about that? But then I just sit with the emotion and then I let it go. And I let it go. Sometimes I can let it go in 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes 10, 15 minutes to do it, but you got to let it go. And then sometimes it'll try to come back. Oh, it'll come back, right? You let the situation go. And then an hour later it tries to come in and wants you to cling on to it and get pissed off about it and get sucked into it. That's when you got to let it go again. Let it go again. It's the muscle of letting go. But these things right here all can help. So meditation. What is meditation? Meditation is sit down, sit your butt on a chair, close your eyes, and do nothing. That's meditation. It's not having any thoughts in your head. That's not what meditation is, because you're always going to have thoughts. Thoughts, you are the sky, and thoughts are like the clouds. The sky never tries to force the clouds out. It just is. You are the sky. Your awareness, not you the person, but your awareness observing everything is like the sky. Okay? So negative thoughts come in, negative emotions come in. Great. Observe them. Don't force them. Don't fight them. And then let them go. Right? And then you're sitting there. And then other things come in, but they're just clouds passing through your sky. And you're just looking at them. and then you let them go. That's it. It's like the other analogy they use is if someone throws a rock into a water and the water is rippling, you don't to try to stop the ripples, you don't go in there and hit the water, try to stop the ripples. It's just going to cause more ripples. You have to let the water go. You have to observe it until it simmers out. So likewise, if you're in your meditation, you're trying to, why am I having these thoughts? You're trying to push them out. You're just causing more confusion and chaos in your mind. So meditation, sit down, focus on your breath. And it's this constant practice of returning. Breath work. I already talked about breath work. You can do some Wim Hof. Wim Hof has some breath work. You can do the 4-second box breathing. Another breath work thing is basically 30 deep inhales. Like you can do that 30 times in a row. And then you hold your breath as long as you can. And then you inhale for 15 seconds and then exhale. And that's a crazy one. That will make you feel like it's like a natural high. It's crazy. You do that breath work and you will be like, you feel it. You feel like your whole body tingling. And that's literally what you're doing is you're oxygenating. You're oxygenating your body though. You're bringing oxygen into the body, into the extremities. And that's why you feel the tingling, but you feel amazing after. I'll tell you, you do 3 rounds, that'll raise your energy because you might be in a negative state at the beginning of the day. In order to raise your energy, do some breath work. That'll literally get your energy up into a more excited state. And then all of a sudden you start thinking positively like that. That's why your energy is everything. Energy is everything. Affirmations are huge. You know, affirmations like I am, confident, I am this, I am that. Now, I think affirmations get a bad rap. They definitely work, right? And even if you don't believe it to be true in the beginning, it is, again, if you keep doing it enough, you will eventually begin to believe it. But just keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it. And then eventually you start to believe like, oh, all you need is say you don't believe it at all first. All you need is to just have an inkling of a belief that, oh, maybe this could be possible. And that turns into eventually like, no, I am this person. So, like without a shadow of a doubt, I am this person. And that's when things start to change for you. And these are all things you can use to basically get your energy up is what I'm saying, right? So get your energy up to the radio station of the frequency, the energy that the version of you who has already accomplished your goals for 2026 lives on. That's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get to that end person now so that things come to us, calls come out of the blue, and synchronicities happen. Cold shower is like a grounding thing. Cold shower is great, or a cold plunge. It really helps with nervous system regulation because it trains your nervous system to be calm under intense environments. So the sauna, I should have put sauna in here. Sauna and cold plunge, that's what that does. So just like you stepping into a new speaking opportunity or a new sales call or whatever that you're nervous about, that's no different than you getting in a cold plunge or in a sauna and your nervous system being like, oh my gosh, like especially if you've ever been in a cold plunge, you're like, it's wild the first time you go in there. But then you realize with the cold plunge, the key is that you have to go in, one, with the right mindset. This is fine. This is going to be easy. Great. You get in and you act like it's nothing. You have to believe like it's nothing. You walk in, you get in the cold plunge, act like nothing. You stay completely relaxed, even though your body wants to freak out. Yeah, you stay completely, because the mind wins, mind over body. So, and then once you do that enough in the cold plunge and the sauna, you start translating that to real life. Something comes up that you're nervous about, but you know that the mind is in control and you can transcend and you can be bigger than that opportunity and step into it. Mental movie method, that's just visualization, but it's literally visualizing you already having the goal. Neville Goddard talks about this all the time, but his whole teaching, Neville Goddard, is basically living in the desired end state, the frequency of the desired end state. He's like, that's all you need to do. Go read Feeling is a Secret, Neville Goddard. What's the other? Maybe I forget what the other book is, but that's like his main book. It's like 45 minutes. But his whole teaching is for his whole life was about be in the feeling of the end state. And why is that though? Because at a quantum level, when you're in that energetic signature, your whole life loop changes and you start to receive synchronicities on that level. So that's why he talked about that. That's why everyone else, Joe Dispenza, all the people, Bob Proctor, also talk about the same thing. Maxwell Maltz, psychocybernetics. I can give you the full list on that. So mental movie method is visualization. Literally just like picture your life like a movie in the future. And like, what is that like? Feel it, be in it. What are the smells? What are the sounds? What are the sights? All the stuff of the movie. Gratitude journal. Gratitude journal is huge. Gratitude is the frequency of creation in this universe. It's the frequency of creation because it signals to the field that you already have it. When you're grateful for this business or this opportunity before you have it, at the energetic level, it is signaling to the world that you already have this, right? So that's when it comes, right? And that's like law of detachment. You have to act like you already have it. I know this might be a little bit, above some people's heads, but when you want something, okay, I want this. At the energetic level, you're saying that I don't have it. That's your belief. I want this. Inherently, that means that you don't have it. So that's the message you send to the universe. You say, I want this, I want that. Versus, I already have this, I already am this. I'm grateful for having it. Then it comes rushing in because the universe is like, oh, he already has it. We got to get it to him. That's what that is. So gratitude journal, you can write things in the morning. I never used the gratitude journal too much. I've used it a little bit. What I call is the everything that's going right journal. That's what I like to use. And I use it in the middle of the day, towards the end of the day. But say it's like a tough day and I just think back to the beginning of the day, like, hey, what's everything that's gone right up to this point in the day? And you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. You'd be like, dang, like the day's actually been pretty great. Like I woke up, I got to read a little bit. I went to the gym. I had a couple good meetings today. I knocked this out. I knocked that out. And you're like, oh, it's actually been a pretty good day. That's a great way to like reset your frequency in the middle of the day. Brahmari buzz breath. So that's this. That's when you inhale and you go, and you literally just do that, right? And it's great. So there's you can look this up. It's called the Brahmari buzz breath, but it activates the vagus nerve. It releases a lot of nitric oxide, whatever that is, but it's supposed to be good for you. But it literally calms your nervous system because by going, you're literally vibrating your whole body, the vagus nerve, all the stuff. So the buzz breath is great. I'll oftentimes combine that with breath work in the morning. So I'll do breath work, I'll do my Wim Hof, and then on my exhale, I might as well just do the Buzzmari. But I might do the Brahmari buzz breath in the middle of the day as well, if I'm just trying to reset my nervous system. 15, 20-minute nap, goated. Goated as the best reset tool of all time, 15, 20-minute nap. Now, obviously, you don't want to go over 30 minutes. As a lot of you may know, because we basically sleep in 90-minute cycles. And within those 90-minute cycles, 30-minute cycles. So if you nap longer than 30 minutes, you're probably going to wake up groggy. Like you take a 45, 60-minute nap, you're going to wake up groggy because you went too deep into your sleep cycle. So by keeping it 15, 20 minutes, you don't hit that 30-minute mark where you kind of drop into some deeper sleep. And you don't always fall asleep. It's basically just like close your eyes and rest. Like close your eyes and rest 15 seconds. You won't really fall asleep. Sometimes you do, but then you wake up, incredible energy after that. Amazing. I use that sometimes at like 2 to 3. So if if I've worked a lot and it's like 2 p.m. and I'm just like strained and I feel myself forcing, 15-minute nap. Just sit down, relax, and that really allows me to reset my energy. Phone reminder affirmation. Love this one. These are just a lot of good tools I use actually throughout the day. But you can set a reminder on your phone. I have a reminder 4 times a day. It says, I am infinite abundance, to remind myself that I am infinite abundance, right? In all aspects of life, financially, relationships, health, whatever, time is abundant. So I am infinite abundance. And I have 4 reminder sets, 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m., or actually 6, 9, 12, 3, 6. I think I have 5 reminder set, 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m. It just reminds me, middle of the day, I'll feel that right in my pocket and I know what it is. And I'm like, I am infinite abundance. But that's an easy way to, and whatever you want to do, I am confident I'm going to make $1 million this year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Put it on your phone as a reminder throughout the day. And again, you're just bringing your awareness back to it. Every time you bring your awareness back to something, you're rewiring your brain, right? Hebb's law, neurons that fire together, wire together. The more you fire those neurons together that I am this thing, the more your brain begins to rewire that way. But it's a process. You don't do it in one day. You got to keep doing it. Reflection journal at the end of the day. That's huge. Just reflecting on the day, how it went, what you would have liked to change. Relaxing music. I mean, I like a little bit of smooth jazz, maybe some R&B in the evening. That allows me to do that. Creative expression. I love to play the guitar now, right? I'm getting more into that. That's a great way to just kind of reset my energy after you're strained in the day. Do creative expression. You like to draw, art, music, um, whatever your creative thing is, go do it. And socialize. Get a little bit of socializing in, right? Make sure you're doing those things. So those are all some things you can use to reset your operating system. So I'd love for you to choose three of those. And as you're going throughout your day, and even starting now and into 2026, and you catch yourself in that old fear survival state, use these things to get yourself out of it. All of these things can be used to get yourself out of it. So upgrade your operating system. All right, imagine your future. So visualization is obviously a super powerful tool. So what we're going to do, and I'll tell you the 6 core domains after, we're going to cast a clear vision across all 6 domains of life. I call these the 6 pillars, and it pretty much encompasses all components of life, in my opinion. But your mind shapes how you see possibilities. We already talked about the reticular activating system and how what you believe in your mind, your brain is going to filter to show you whatever you believe. So if you believe negative things, or that this is going to be hard, or that I'm never going to get it, then your brain is going to filter those things. And here's the worst part about it is you believe that it's going to be hard, or I'm just never going to be able to consistently get to the gym this month. I'm just too busy. Okay, boom, that's the belief you have. So what is your brain going to do? It's going to give you all the feedback and data points it can give you to show you why you can't go to the gym consistently because you're too busy this month. And then what happens? Oh, I knew I was right. I knew it. I knew I wasn't going to be consistent. Well, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy because that's what you decided to believe. So your mind shapes how you see things. All is mind. First law of the Kybalion. Go read the Kybalion. First hermetic law. All is mind in the universe. Everything started in the mind. And logically, this makes sense as well. Everything that's ever been built in this world all started in the mind. Started in someone's mind. Everything. In the beginning, there was the word, whatever they say. But yeah, so everything starts in the mind. So whether it's your goals or your future or your vision or whatever, it starts in the mind. You got to visualize it. The brain responds to imagined scenarios almost like real ones. I shouldn't say almost, I should say exactly like real ones. But I do the basketball example all the time. Maybe I won't use the basketball one, but the basketball one is there's 3 groups trying to improve their free throws over 3 weeks. The first one practices free throws in real life. The second one does it in their mind. The third one doesn't practice at all. And the first 2 groups basically improve the same percentage. The ones doing it in their minds, the ones physically doing it. And the third people don't improve at all. But there's other studies too, like people practicing the piano in their minds, right? They can barely play the song. They're practicing the piano in their mind. And then they go get on the piano and they can play the freaking song. Because every time that you're doing the visualization, you're rewiring the neurons in your brain. Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. So as you fire those new neurons in your brain, you're literally rewiring your brain, new synaptic connections, new neural pathways, and you're becoming a new person that's able to actually do that. And yeah, that's the biggest thing. So a clear vision sets the emotional tone that you operate from. Again, if you can visualize what it feels like to be the person who already has it, you get into that emotional frequency. It upgrades your frequency, so you're on a different radio station. Different life loop is going to lead to different results, and that's the basis of it. The future you create, or your identity shifts as you repeatedly rehearse who you want to become. Like I said, neurons that fire together, wire together. The future you create comes from the version of you that you practice embodying. Yeah. So you gotta be that person first. That's the biggest thing. You don't get those things and then become the person. You become the person and then get the things. That's how it works. You gotta believe it's possible. Believe, behave, become framework. You gotta believe it's possible. Behave in accordance with that belief. And if you do that behavior enough times, the world's gonna perceive you as that person, and then you become that person. No one comes in riding in on a white horse to tell you that you're ready to do it. Never happens. Okay. You got to decide to do it. You got to have some courage. You got to have some faith. You got to take the leap, and you just got to go do it. Or you can just sit in the same spot you are now and deal with the pain of regret, which I don't think you want to do. Here's the other thing. Fears, the word fears. Why do we not take action on things? Because we're scared. Okay. But fear is an illusion and it's a liar. And as soon as you realize that, you can step into your true power. But fears is an acronym also. that explains the reasons that we are fearful, right? So fear, you have fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, and fear of success. So those 5 things are the 5 fears of why we don't take action. So they're all an illusion. You'll be safe. You'll be fine. And I had someone comment on my social media. I was like, because I posted about how your fear is an illusion, and she was like, well, there goes all of our human survival instincts or whatever. I'm like, yes, there they do go, because yeah, you need it to stay safe. Like you need fear, otherwise we just run in front of a car and get killed on the street. But we take fear to the extreme. We take fear to the extreme. Oh, we had some people on here. Oh, we got some comments. I did not realize. I checked these comments. Jack, what's up, brother? The Secret by Rhonda Byrnes. Yeah, it's a great movie. Or a great thing. The Secret. That is I watched that a while ago. But that's the truth. That's what everyone talks about. And in The Secret, they just talk about the feeling is the secret. Everyone uses this stuff. So anyways. So imagine your future. Mind shapes, I see the possibilities. Yeah. It's so important. Gotta visualize, 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 visualize. And really how it works, I didn't talk about this in Upgrade Your Operating System, but how you rewire your body, and this is what Joe Dispenza talks about in Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. As you think new thoughts, okay, neurons that fire together wire together, we know that. But every time that you I do remember, what's the word? So even you got to watch yourself talk. When I tell myself, oh, I forget it, I don't forget it. When you think thoughts, that signals neurotransmitters, neuroresponders. I think it's neuroresponders is what it's called in your brain. So certain neuroresponders, which releases neuropeptides, which are like chemical signatures. I think it's a neurotransmitter. I think that's the word. So as you think a thought, you're signaling certain neurotransmitters in your brain. Those neurotransmitters release chemical signatures called neuropeptides that travel through your bloodstream down to the hormonal sites on your body and feed your body a certain emotional frequency, like a chemical cocktail is what he calls it. So when you think fearful or anxious thoughts, that sends certain neuropeptides or chemical signatures to your body. So you think fearful thoughts, it's going to send that emotional frequency to your body, to the fear hormonal sites on your body, and then you feel fear. That's how that actually works. Now, over time, if you're consistently training the body to feel fear because all you think about is worry and anxiety and fear and doubt and anger or whatever that is, right? Let's use anger as an example. All you're thinking is angry thoughts all the time. You're literally just programming your body or sending angry chemical signatures down to your body and priming those adapter sites. And over time, that's what your body fiends for. So when you go try to not be angry one day, the second you stop consciously thinking about it, you're angry again. Why? Because your body is like going into shock. It's like, hey, what's going on? Like, you've been sending us this anger chemical for the past 3 years. Like, what the hell is going on right now? And it'll send a signal up the spine, to the brain, the hypothalamus, all the stuff. And basically is like a red alert in your body to, hey, go start having these angry thoughts again. We need that chemical. So that's what you're trying to break. You're like an addict to your conditioned emotions. That's why it's so hard to break the habit of being yourself. So hard to get out of guilt and worry and frustration. And doesn't mean it can't be done, but that's why we revert and we revert and we revert, because our subconscious programming is that of the other emotion. So just got to get back on the horse here. Keep it going, folks. All right, we're chugging along here. So mini exercise. So writing one paragraph in each of these domains. You should have these all mapped out. All right. All these should be mapped out. So these are 6 domains of life. You got health, relationships, purpose, creative expression, wealth, and personal growth. Those are my 6 domains. I think it encompasses everything. Health is physical health, mental health, spiritual health, nutrition, well-being, sleep, all this stuff. That's all health. Okay. Relationships, personal relationships, professional relationships, relationships with spiritual relationships, relationship with yourself. Okay. Your purpose. We'll get into purpose in the T pillar, but what is your purpose, right? What's your vision for your purpose here on this earth? Creative expression. We're here to be creators. We need to express ourselves creatively, whatever you like to do. Maybe you don't really have a creative expression, but there's something that you've been wanting to do. Start it next year. When's the best time to start? Yesterday. When's the next best time to start? Today. Wealth. Okay, so wealth again. These are not. It's not money. It's like wealth. Okay, that could be wealth in finances. It could be wealth in health. It could be wealth in your relationships. It could be wealth in your abundance. It could be wealth in your time. What does wealth look like for you? Personal growth. Always got to get 1% better every single day, no matter what. So, what are your personal growth goals? So, what I want you to do is write a paragraph on each of these pillars: health, relationships, purpose, creative expression. Each of these pillars as if it's already done. Just one paragraph. And dream without the how. What does that mean? It means this does not need to be realistic. Actually, it should be very unrealistic where you want to go, right? So you let the universe deliver the how. And there's a great so how to dream without the how. I want you to imagine like you won the lottery, okay? $300 million, you won the lottery, is in your bank account. $300 million. No, all the taxes are paid. You have $300 million. How do you feel? That's how I want you to feel when you're doing this exercise. Before you write it out, you need to make sure you're in an elevated frequency. Your energy is up. You're excited. Boom. What does it feel like to have, oh my gosh, I have $300 million in my bank account? What does that feel like? And then go write your stuff from health, relationships, purpose. So, and the reason that you don't need to know the how is because when we're trying to figure out the how, our mind is only working on the field of the 3D world. So it's going to work logically, however we think, right? Based on our past experiences and what we know, we're going to try to come up with the best logical way to get from A to Z. And we're going to go, okay, we're going to go A, then we're going to go B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, all the way to Z. The universe works on a completely different scale. This is the intelligence that created us. Okay. It beats our heart. It digests our food. It heals the cuts on our wounds. It gives life to people, brings people into this earth, right? It grows the trees. It does all the things. That force knows how to get you what you want. Okay. Much better than your own mind does. I can guarantee you that. So releasing the how means you focus on the what, you focus on the end feeling, you focus on where you're going. And every single day you're open to how that could come because the universe is going to deliver it like A, B, R, F, G, B, Y, and then it goes to Z. Makes no sense to the mind whatsoever, but on a different scale, on a different plane, it makes perfect sense. And the reason you know this is true too is that in hindsight, everything always makes sense. It always makes sense. So say, you've been on this journey and you finally got to where you wanted to go. Look back at how you got there. Because I guarantee it's not at all how you thought you would have gotten there. But when you look back, you're like, wow, that was perfect. Like I needed to wait, an extra 3 days before I met this person. I needed to be late to that event so that I could meet that person. And then I needed to, be hurt there so that I could pause because I needed this to happen. And da-da-da. All these things had to line up. Stuff you never could have even planned. That's because there's something else working to deliver what you want. And it's not your own mind. That's how you need to release the how. Let go of the past. Just gotta let go, people. Okay. Why are our natural state as human beings is peace and love. That's our natural state as a human being. Now we have all this baggage that we're just holding on. It's literally driving our frequency down because something happened on Friday that we're angry about. And 3 days later, we're still angry about it. Why? Why? Because you're holding on to it. That's why. It happened 3 days ago. It has nothing to do with right now. You couldn't handle the emotional experience, so you're still hanging on to it and being angry about it. And what is that doing? You're in that lower frequency. You're literally in a lower frequency because you're holding on to it. You have to let the situation go. Okay? Take the lesson that you needed to learn from it. Do whatever that you need to do. But the situation's done. Right? It's done. There's no need to be holding on to it anymore. And that's what we do with life, though. We hang on to all these experiences. We're mad about something a coworker said to us, or we're guilty about something we said 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago. We're upset about something that happened 10 years ago. Okay? 10 years ago. What are we doing? It happened 10 years ago. Like the past has no bearing other than the bearing you give it by dragging it into the present moment. Peace and love and joy is your baseline state of being. And as soon as you let all these things go, you let the worry go, you're worrying about finances and you're worrying about this and that. The worrying doesn't do anything for you. It actually doesn't get you anywhere. If anything, it gets you the opposite of what you want because you're thinking about something you don't want to happen. You're getting emotional about it, which you're activating the energy at a quantum level. You're activating those experiences and you're drawing those things into yourself. So let's not worry, right? Let's think about the positive things and do those. But we just have to let things go. That's really it. Oh, and good to see you, bro. Good to see you. So yeah, letting these things go. So emotional imprints. All right, so I'm gonna get a little deeper into this. I haven't got this deep actually into this. Um, Emotional imprints from past experiences get stored in the body. What the heck is that? It's called a samskara in yogic or Sanskrit or yogic or something like that philosophy. There's a really good book called The Body Keeps a Score. I have not read it, but I believe it's about this concept. So emotional imprints from the past get stored in the body. What does that mean? When I was first getting started in wholesale, I was in such a stressful state, worried about money and doing all these things that every time my phone rang, I was scared to pick it up. I was scared to pick it up because I thought that, oh my gosh, the deal's going to fall through. So I created an emotional imprint of like in the beginning of the wholesale business, whenever my phone would ring, instantly I'd go into fight or flight, be like, oh my gosh, it's the seller. Like this deal's going to fall through. Like I need this money, all this stuff. And I literally created an imprint that every time for the next like 2 years, I didn't even realize this until like earlier this year, like maybe like 9 months ago, that I was literally getting, I didn't even realize it. I was scared every time my phone rang. My phone would ring and I'd instantly go into fight or flight. Like, "Ooh." I'm like, why am I so scared of my phone? And I realized it was because of that event. And it was just it was an emotional experience and subconsciously just locked in. I didn't know how to deal with the emotion at the time. I didn't know how to deal with that like anxiety, or whatever, and just let it go. So instead of letting it go, every time the phone triggered the event, right, the emotion of anxiety came up, I'd push it back down, right? And then the phone rang again, it would come up, I'd push it back down. And it never got released until I was able to be aware of it and be like, wow, I'm not living as the same person I was 2 years ago. There's no need to be scared of my phone ringing, obviously. So then when my phone would ring, I would feel the feeling, but then I'd be like, oh, it's actually okay. It's fine. I would keep telling myself that. And now I'm not scared to answer my phone. I know it's an amazing story, but that is basically what happens. So we have these all the time. Something happens where you speak to an employee, maybe the first person you fire. Okay, first person you fire, you're a manager, and the person blows up at you. It's this traumatic experience. If you're not able to properly handle that emotionally, every single time that you have to go to fire someone going forward, you're going to have those same emotions from that event. You're going to go into fight or flight. It's going to be anxiety, worry, all this stuff, right? And you're going to stay stuck in that pattern until you have the awareness to realize that, oh, I need to let those emotions go. That was a one-off circumstance. Not everyone's going to blow up at me when I let them go. That's an emotional imprint. So we have all these emotional imprints, or like some scars, like Michael Singer talks about in The Untethered Soul, is and Living Untethered and The Surrender Experiment, all three of his books. We have all these thorns in our body, these samskaras, and he calls them thorns. And we go through life, instead of removing the thorn, which is basically letting the experience go, letting the emotion of the experience go, we try to live life and not agitate the thorn. Okay. So for example, like say the phone made me scared because in the beginning I was scared of things falling through and I needed the deal to go through. I would then try to live my life avoiding the phone. So I have this thorn in my body of being scared to answer my phone because of a past experience I couldn't handle. And now I'm going to just not answer my phone, or I'm just not going to not answer it. And I'm trying to live my life by not agitating the thorn instead of just removing the thorn. And we have all these emotional imprints stuck in our body from all these different events, And we go through our life like with like hundreds of thorns, and we're just trying to move through life and not agitate these thorns instead of just removing the thorn, which means experiencing the emotion and letting it go. And that's what all of life becomes about, letting go. Everything that agitates you, everything that makes you angry, frustrated, worry, whatever the case is, everything that agitates you, you have to look at it from an awareness perspective and just let go. It's a constant battle of letting go, right? It's like carrying the heavy backpack, right? You carrying the heavy backpack, you can take it off, right? We don't need to complain about it. We can just let go of those things because we don't need it. Letting go. I think I just covered all that. But yeah, you can't create a lighter 2026 while holding on to the emotional weight of the 2025. So tying it back to setting goals, right? Um, yeah, if you're fearful of these situations, like you're trying to be a better salesperson, or you want to get out there and build relationships, or you want to be healthy, if you're holding on to emotions that are limiting your ability to reach those goals, it's going to be really, really tough. You're fighting uphill battles. So we need to let go of those things. So when we get into let go of the past, okay. So the mini exercise here is let go, repatterning. So write a recurring 2025 trigger. I'm sure you can think of something that's triggered you. What does that mean? Anything that makes you not feel peace, love, or joy is a trigger. Okay, because taking you into a lower state of being. So write what that trigger is, whatever you think it is that's holding you back from reaching your goals. Try to identify what the emotion is behind it, whether it's guilt, anger, shame, fear, doubt, worry, whatever it is. I want you to write that this is old programming, not who I am. And then write how your 2.0 self would respond. So if we're using the example I had, you know, the phone rings, the motion behind is anxiety. How would my 2.0 self respond instead? He would just pick up the phone like it's nothing because it's a phone call. It's not going to kill you. And that's what you would do, right? So write what the trigger is, identify the emotion behind it, understand that this is old programming, it's not who I am, and then write how the 2.0 self would respond. In all these exercise things are things that you can do forever. It's just the work. It's the work. All right, transcending into your 2.0 identity. So after you've done, this is what built for impact means. You become built for impact when you break limiting beliefs. You upgrade your operating system. You imagine the future. You let go of the past. You transcend into this next level of yourself. So as you're stepping into this level of yourself, we want to act out of overflow. All right, not because of lack. So a lot of times that we chase things because we're not whole on the inside. Michael Singer says the best, you are not okay on the inside. You don't feel okay in here. So what do? You chase everything in your external world, money, cars, houses, relationships, titles, accolades, traveling, social media, whatever it is. You're chasing things because you don't feel okay on the inside. You don't feel okay. You don't feel like you've accomplished anything. You don't feel like you have purpose. You don't feel like this. You don't feel like that. So you go chase things to try to make you whole. And you're creating from an energy of lack, meaning I am not enough, so I'm going to go do these things. So we want to flip that. We want to create from overflow, meaning I am already enough. Like I don't need to do anything today, right? I know it's hard for people to believe. Well, I got to make money. I got to do this. Yeah, you do have to do that. But listen, you're going to be okay. You figured it out 100% of the time up to this point. You're going to figure it out every single time till the day you die. I guarantee it. Okay. You're going to be okay. But we have to create because we want to. Okay. Why am I doing this right now? I'm not doing it because I want to feel whole. I'm doing it because I'm already so whole on the inside. I already have so much peace and gratitude and excitement. And I just want to give it away that I'm literally on a live stream right now. Just giving it away. Okay. So that's how we need to do everything in life. I show up to the wholesale business, not because I have to, not because I need to, but because I want to. I want to show up and I want to help people grow and I want to put people in the best position. I want to be the best version of myself. I'm doing that at overflow. So I love this mantra, move when inspired, rest when tired. All right. Move when inspired, rest when tired. I actually want to try out this. Move when inspired. I actually want to try this out. Move when inspired, rest when tired. See, I'm gonna queue up some of these banners next time. Look at this. Oh, you can scroll it across the bottom of the ticker. That is save. Oh, look at that. That's pretty great right there. Move when inspired, rest when tired. I'm gonna keep that ripping the rest of the thing here. We just got to move when inspired, rest when tired. That's it. I'm not gonna do it. It's kind of distracting. But yeah, so whenever you feel inspired to do stuff, go do it. I have everything I've done for Built in my social media and this whole thing. I am building this whole community in this business and everything from inspiration to prove a point. because I've never forced it once. Whenever I feel like I'm forcing something, I don't work. And when I feel inspired, I take action, I make content. But then people say, well, then I'd never take action. Okay, then you're not meant to do that. If you don't feel inspired to do that, you shouldn't be doing it. That's the bottom line. Because inspiration is guidance from your higher self, from the higher plane, telling you what to do, telling you what to do. And when you act out of inspiration, you accomplish 10 times the amount of stuff you do when you're not inspired. So when I wake up and depending on what I do, I feel inspired to edit something, I will get so much done, like an hour and a half, or 2 hours, like 4 times the amount of stuff, 5 times the amount of stuff I would have gotten if I was sitting there forcing it. Because when I'm inspired, I'm in a creative state, right? My mind is open, the ideas come to me. Effort is action is effortless, and I have more energy. I'm not draining myself because I'm not in fight or flight. So we always want to move from this inspired, aligned state. And when you're tired, honor that. Rest is productive. You got to rest so that you can have the next sprint. So we're so stuck in these rigid structures that we got to work 9 to 5 and do all these things. And if you just work when you're inspired, you're going to get more done. But don't take my word for it. Go do it. And if you have a job and you're doing things, that's great. Do it for your side hustle or something else you want to do. Anything you want to accomplish. I challenge you to only move when inspired, and see what kind of results you can produce. I guarantee you they're going to be better. Better than the results you're getting from forcing. Every day at 6 a.m. I got to do this. Every day at 8 a.m. I got to do this. That's the mind trying to figure things out. Okay. You gotta have faith. Faith is the belief in the unseen. So, being intuitive, understanding intuition. So when you let go of these lower level emotions, so I'm coming out with the built course, right? We're going to have a school, and I have a whole built for impact program, which is I've been building for built became an idea 8 months ago, but I've been building the program for probably 4 months. And I basically channeled the whole thing. What does that mean? You channeled it, Jake? What are you, God? No. But they just came to me through insights, right? And I would never. So this whole built framework is 5 modules, BUILT, and there's 4 micro lessons in each pillar. And I just anytime I got inspiration or an idea came to me, I would just immediately whip out my phone and just put it down. And it's funny because we were in Argentina. I was in Argentina with Isaiah, and we were in the Uber one time, and I got an idea, and it's not just an idea; it's a stream of consciousness where you will sit there for 15, 20 minutes and not even look up, and it's just coming out, and it's just straight gold. I don't even know how to explain it, but we were in the Uber, and I was just on my phone for 15 minutes straight, just typing for 15 minutes, like a text, a 15-minute text. And he's like, "Were you just writing the same note that whole time?" Yeah, it was an idea. But basically I channeled the whole thing. And, and I didn't, and again, I did not build it B, and then I did U, and then I did I. No, it was I might do a little bit of B, and then I hopped over to T, and then I went to I for a little bit, and then L, and then U, and it was all over the place. But it was exactly perfect because now here it is fully built out, and then I'm refining it. Now I'm putting it into presentations. But that's all through intuition. So when you let go of these lower level frequencies and you let the energy rise, so your heart is your creative center, and then if you look at chakras, right? Chakras, and then the throat is your throat chakra is free speaking. So you would say that my throat chakra is pretty open right now because I'm not afraid to get on a live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube and talk about this stuff, right? Now, the old me, who might have been oh, they're going to think Jake's weird, or he's talking about spiritual stuff and XYZ, would have never gotten on the live because I wasn't even in the frequency of the version of me who does this, right? So letting that energy rise, then you open your throat chakra, you speak your truth, you get out there, you're not afraid. And if you keep letting energy rise, it gets into your third eye. And that's when just ideas come out of nowhere. You get downloads, XYZ. If you keep letting energy rise all the way to your crown chakra, that's you are completely in alignment with your purpose. You know exactly what your purpose is, and all that stuff. So through the inner work, I've been able to do that. I know my dharma. I'm gonna show you how to come up with your dharma right now, which is basically where your dharma is a Sanskrit word, and it's basically where your natural gifts and abilities and what gives you energy meets a deep need for the world. How freaking awesome is that? That you could be doing your dharma It's literally what lights you up, what gives you energy, what you're really, really naturally good at, and what the world needs, what the world's lacking. You can give to them. And that's your dharma. You do those two things. So you can get paid for your dharma. You can get paid for your passions. Oh, you can't do your passions, this and that. You're going to ruin it. Listen, you can believe whatever you want to believe. If you want to believe that you can't get paid for your passions and that it's going to ruin your passion, then guess what? That's the world that you live in. I think we get so caught up in what people tell us and this and that. Like, decide for yourself. Decide what your own truth is. Decide what you want to believe. That's how you create the world that you want to create. Um, Gratitude. I already talked about gratitude as the creative frequency of the universe. Sets the emotional tone. Because as long as you're wanting something, as long as you are wanting something, you're in the frequency of not having it. We know this. So choosing the identity you want to live from, it's powerful. It's powerful. I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now because Built for Impact was an idea in my mind in April when I was in El Salvador. And it was just an acronym at that point. It wasn't even the Built that it is now. It used to be like income. The I was like integrate high income skills and L was leverage systems. It was too scattered. But at first I was like, I was only in the wholesale business. So like, oh, I could never do this. I could never, talk about this stuff or XYZ. But then I like, again, questioning your beliefs. I just had it in my head and I was like, oh, maybe I could. And then eventually got to a point where like, no, I can do this. Like I am this person. And then for the past, 4 months, I have just been this person. Like this is who I am in my head. Whether the world believes it or not, this is who I am in my head. I'm going to take the actions. I'm going to do the things. I'm going to get on live. I'm going to do all the things I need to do until it's real, right? And you create a LinkedIn page and you create a Facebook page and you do these lives. And over time, you bring it into existence. That's how you do it. So yeah, you're going to go on live. You're not going to have a lot of viewers and no one's going to be watching all this stuff. That's how you build. Because in your mind, you're creating a gap. In your mind, you are someone. You are somewhere. You have these things. But the physical world is still here. So you have to let the physical world catch up. Okay? It's going to catch up. So you got to step into this version of yourself that you want in 2026. Okay? And you got to let the universe come to you. But when you're this person and you don't see things happen right away in a day or in a week or whatever, you got to have faith that it works. Okay? You got to have faith in the belief in this stuff. And if you need more reassurance, go follow these people that are talking about. Go follow Joe Dispenza. Go look into the science. Go follow Bruce Lipton. Read the biology of belief. Go follow anyone you want. Bob Proctor and Earl Nightingale and, Eckhart Tolle and Michael Singer and anyone that you could possibly want to talk about or learn about. Joe Dispenza has so many books. I've read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, but I need to read the other ones, which are Becoming Supernatural. He has one on neuroscience and how we rewire our brains, but it's up to you. You got to go take it. So choose the identity you want in 2026. Okay. I want you to reflect on what you think your dharma is. And maybe you have a job and you're not in a place where you can just fully step into your dharma, but that's where everyone starts. The first thing is understanding what it is. Because it's like, oh, you can just start doing your dharma fully now, but you can start to take little actions that put you in alignment with your dharma. Like my dharma, my natural abilities and gifts and what lights me up is to like communicate with people and teach and speak. Okay. So that's why I'm doing that. I am obsessed with personal development, helping people become the best version of themselves. That's my passion. And then speaking and communicating and kind of motivating is what I would call some of the things that I'm more naturally gifted at, right? So you combine those two things and then Built for Impact is born, right? That's me following my dharma. Now, I still got the wholesale business. I'm still doing other stuff, but I'm building this in conjunction with it. So and it started as what? It started as an idea. It started as a simple post. It started as a simple podcast episode. And over time, you do the work every single day and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. But ask yourself, what gives you energy? And what are you naturally gifted at? What are those things? And then what do people value in me? I need to change that. Not what do people value in me, but like, what do people find value in? So if it gives you energy and you're gifted at it, but people don't find value in it, then it's kind of more of just a hobby, right? Versus what you're naturally gifted at and brings you energy and people are like, oh my gosh, this is great stuff. Like I got a ton of value out of that. Like I resonate with this, all the stuff. You know that it's your dharma when that's the reflection. Frederick Buechner said that your vocation, which vocation versus career, vocation is like a feeling of deep suitability for a certain career path. Your vocation is where your deep hunger meets a, or no, sorry, it's where your deep gladness meets a deep hunger of the world, is I think how he said it. But whatever like lights you up and whatever the world needs, that's what you need to be doing. Go follow that. Go follow that. You can make money doing it. I guarantee that you can. You can do anything that you absolutely want. That's the reality of life, people. That's going to bring us to a conclusion here. An hour and 10 minutes. It's a lot of talking. A lot of talking for me. But if anything I can do, folks, it is talk. So here we are. You don't achieve your 2026 goals with discipline alone. You achieve them by becoming the person who naturally lives them. Right. So rewatch this, do the mini exercises. Again, I can teach this stuff, but if you don't do the work, it ain't going to change. Subscribe for more content on how to go deeper into these things. Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Spotify, and then we got the podcast. So if you haven't checked out the podcast, go do that. Every Monday, 6 a.m. I keep them short. I keep them like 10 to 20 minutes max. Most of them are like 10 to 15 minutes. And it's just like a little bite, a little piece to get you started for the week, to get you into the right state of mind. Little food for thought for you to chew on. But check out those podcasts Monday at 6 a.m. And yeah, so what's our goal here? Our goal is to build a life from peace instead of pressure. That is the main objective. Like, how do I build a life and a business and relationships and health, whatever it is? How do I build from a place of peace instead of a place of pressure? That's the goal of all this, right? That's what we're helping each other do, so that we as a collective, as a world, can all operate with more peace and less fear and pressure, because you can get the results that you want from a place of peace. You can actually get them quicker than when you're forcing. And that's the crux of all this. So appreciate y'all. Hope you have a great weekend. If you have any comments, place them down below. If there's things you want me to cover, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know what you want and we can think about it. Next week, we got my good friend Gordon Thornton coming on. Little special guest. He is very deep into this stuff as well. He's got his own community. But we're gonna be chopping it up, talking about these things. It's gonna be a lot of value in that episode, and we will get it going. Alex, appreciate you. Alex is my number one fan. It's great. That's all I need. That's it. Have a good weekend.